Hi guys, Miss Dunk here. Welcome in. I am a Escape from Tarkov streamer on Twitch as well as a Sherpa for Battlestate Games. I help new players learn how to play Tarkov, and I primarily teach woods, which is what we're going to go over today is tips and tricks on how to survive woods. Woods can be a very confusing map. It's a very big map. There's a lot of initial quests there, so they send you there early. And I hope today that some of these tips and tricks I'm going to go over can help you survive. So one of the first tips that I tell anybody trying to learn a new map, and if you're new to woods, is definitely to pull up the woods map. Either find it through mapgenie.com or through Google Images. Pull it up on a second monitor, have it there for your reference when you're in raid. Another way is to do some offline raids. You can set these up so that it's just you in the raid, and you can start to get comfortable on the map before you go in and risk your gear as a PMC. Another free way to go in is also with your scav runs. These are a great way to learn a map and to go to areas that maybe you're not comfortable with. Say you're not comfortable in dorms or sawmill, you can run into those areas now as a scav because that's really just free gear on you and you can get comfortable in those areas. What to bring into raid with you, and honestly, there's not a cut and dry answer to what weapon you should take to woods. I run a bolt action with an SMG as a second. A lot of people do bolt action pistol or semi-autos. It's really honestly whatever you are most comfortable with. I typically recommend new players use the SKS with PS rounds. It's a decent weapon for woods. It's a decent all-around weapon in general. One thing that everybody should have when they go to woods is snacks. It's a large map. You're eventually gonna have to eat and drink in raid. And if you get lost and you can't find snacks, you could be in trouble and you might get dehydrated or exhausted. So make sure you're bringing those snacks with you. Of course, your heals, your repack ammo. And honestly, I always recommend anywhere from class 2 to class 4 armor, depending at what point you're at in the wipe. Late wipe, I'm still typically running class 4 or class 5 armor on woods. Lastly, I recommend grabbing a headset for woods, whichever headset you're most comfortable with. If you only have level 1 traders, your options are pretty limited, but I would still grab one even if they're not your favorite headset. Sound is so important on every map, but woods especially. It's going to give you a heads up if somebody is running just ahead of you. Your next tip is to determine what your objective is for that raid. Before you go into the raid, have a clear plan of what you're trying to do. Are you going to get Jaeger's letter? Are you trying to get Proper's quest done? Are you just going there to kill scavs or to learn the map? Just have a set objective, whatever it is, and stick to it. Because without a clear objective in the raid, you might just start to wander around and get into engagements that you didn't really plan for. So if you're going in there to loot and then survive, it kind of helps to have a set idea of, okay, if I spawn over here, I'm going to try and loot this, and then I'm going to move to extract. Not everything will go to plan in the world of Tarkov. It's very much adapt or die in a lot of situations. But having this clear outline of what you want to do and what your intent is going to keep you on path to getting out of the raid and hopefully surviving that raid. Because a lot of times people overstay in an area after a gunfight, or they loot a body that's really out in the open that they probably shouldn't be looting. So if you stick to your original plan, get the Jaeger letter, get out, you're going to have a higher chance of surviving. These next two tips I'm going to talk about in conjunction. So knowing your player spawns as well as taking your time in raid. The first one, it's really difficult if you're learning woods for the first time to know where all the players spawn. However, if you take a look at those maps we talked about earlier, they do indicate player spawns, and you can try to get an idea of where you are based off of certain landmarks. Like in the video behind us here, I noticed right away there's a car on a road, and then I move out of spawn just a little bit and I see a house. So I recognize scav house and I recognize the outskirts extract, and so I know what spawn I'm in. And from there, I know that players can spawn in front of me by ZB14 as well as off to the side close to the water. So I'm trying to be weary of those players that can potentially push from either side, or I could roll up on as I move out of my spawn. And I also recommend new players to take their time to figure out where they are on the map. But don't do this directly in spawn. A lot of players know the spawns on the map and will check those. So move off to the side a little bit, either into a bush or behind a rock, get some sort of cover, and then if you need to reference the map on your other monitor, do that to figure out where you are. You can also move out of the spawn a little bit to try and figure out, just like I did in this video, where I am based on some landmarks. Just don't be afraid to take those moments in the raid to try to figure out where you are and where you should go from your spawn towards your objective. So take your time. You brought snacks after all. Next on the list is the mines and sniper scavs on woods, what you need to know. You have ordinary sniper scavs just like on customs, but then you have out of bounds sniper scavs, which is what I want to talk about now. There are a couple places on this map, such as the Bridge Car Extract, Scav Bridge, and close to ZB14 there's a road that if you go too far into these areas, there's a sniper scav that's out of bounds that will kill you on sight for going too far outside the map. These are usually marked. If it looks like a deadly sign, just don't go past the sign is a good rule of thumb in Tarkov. At the Bridge Car Extract, as soon as you cross the yellow line, they will start shooting at you. So you just simply put your money in the car and then stay outside of the yellow line. Don't cross it. The mines, for the most part, are also marked on woods. They have a little red sign with a skull on it. There's only one area that has a minefield that's unmarked, and this is near the USEC camp. So if you stay away from USEC camp, you're going to be okay. But as soon as you start to get close to USEC camp, you need to be really mindful of where these mines are. In this video, I'm showing you my routes and how I like to avoid the mines, and I have 2 set rules for doing this. When I move up to the USEC camp coming from the blue dumpster, I keep the rocks as close as I can to my right. And then I just go through the camp, I loot the camp, I jump up on this other set of rocks here. And this is safe. This is perfectly fine as long as I don't go into the minefield on the left. It's in the forest here. And I keep moving through to the other camp. I can loot this. There you can find a lot of good loot here. O-scope, Pog. But when I head down this sandy hill, there are mines on my left here, but I'm going to keep the rocks again on my side. I'm going to stick right next to the rocks and move down, and I'm going to avoid the mines this way. So I always just stick right next to the rocks. Other people have other ways of doing this that work as well. Not all of this sandy bit is a minefield, but it's just safer if you go by these rules, in my opinion. If you want to get really technical with it, you can just go into an offline raid and test for yourself where exactly all of these mines are so that you have a good idea of where you can and cannot walk. Another key tip is to consider pathing around high traffic areas on woods, especially if you are not comfortable with PvP yet in Tarkov. I would suggest avoiding Sawmill, sticking to the outside of the map, and maybe even avoiding the Immercom medical camp as well as the USEC camp. These areas tend to be contested pretty well. The 2 villages also can get contested. I'm not saying that you can't go there. I would just recommend being careful around those areas if you do. For new players that are trying to get in, get their Jaeger task done, just get the letter and survive, this route that I'm outlining below and kind of hanging behind Sniper Rock and Mountain Stash, if you go behind here and you stick to the power lines on the map, or even the out of bounds, depending where you spawn, keeping the out of bounds right next to you, these tend to be areas that aren't really traveled as much by players on woods. It's easier to get around and get out of the map this way. And if you're taking this route that I just suggested, or a similar kind of off the beaten path route on woods, you're probably going to get lost at some point, which leads us to our next tip. Don't freak out. It's going to happen. You're going to get turned around, especially if you don't have your compass yet. Just take a step back, try to see around you what kind of landmarks there are. Over by Sawmill and Sniper Scav Rock, Spine, the Crash Plane, it's kind of really a lot easier to figure out where you are. But in what we call the new area, for those that have played Tarkov a long time because the map got an expansion, it's highly wooded, obviously because of the name. But this makes it really difficult to figure out where you are because there aren't any buildings around. And the path that I was showing you to go around Sniper Rock, that's one of those areas. And that's why it's not as heavily traveled by other players, because people do get lost in there. But there are a couple ways to figure out where you are in this area, and that is to use the roads as a sign, as well as the power lines. These are kind of a guide for you throughout the map, because the power lines go from one side by ZB14 all the way over to the bridge car extract, if you notice right here on the map. This literally is a guide and a way for you to get from one side to the other. And then if you get lost, you can always try to figure out where you are by finding that out of bound area safely and then moving along the outside of the map. And again, this is why snacks are so important, because it's a huge map. Lastly, if you are in a squad or a duo, I recommend utilizing your compass on woods. Callouts get really iffy on this map. A lot of times people will yell, he's by that rock, he's by that tree, and it's really not helpful for you or your teammate. So clear communication and giving them a set direction is going to help your teammate more in the situation of pinpointing where the enemy is, because it can be hard on this map to do that. And as you guys start to work your way into Sawmill, here is a little image that can hopefully help you. I will link it below in the description, but this offers not only the spawn points for the boss of the map, Sturman, and his 2 guards, but it also gives you call outs for certain buildings and areas near Sawmill that are going to help you and your squad to better communicate. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It's my first time on YouTube and I had a blast. I look forward to making more content. If you have any questions at all, leave a comment below. And if you'd like to catch me on Twitch, I am streaming 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central, Monday through Friday.